The world of global politics and sports collided in the most spectacular fashion recently, and if you want to understand exactly how American soft power is being eroded on the global stage, you only need to look at the soccer field. All eyes were on the United States men's national soccer team during a high-stakes World Cup match, a moment that should have been about athletic grit and national pride, but instead turned into a masterclass in political distraction and reputational self-destruction. The Wall Street Journal captured the grim reality perfectly when they noted that the team collapsed spectacularly, losing 4-1 against Belgium in a match completely marred by controversy. The catalyst for this mess wasn't just poor tactics on the pitch, but an unprecedented intervention by Donald Trump, who somehow managed to get the red card of America's star player overturned before the match. This move set up a toxic catch-22 where the American team couldn't actually win in the court of public opinion. If Team USA had somehow pulled off a victory, the entire world would have branded them as state-sponsored cheaters who needed political muscle to bend the rules of the game. Instead, because they lost miserably, they just looked deeply distracted, unprepared for prime time, and weighed down by the absurd political drama trailing them. American fans were left watching the highlights in absolute horror, realizing that while the team was busy looking past Belgium and anticipating a glamorous matchup with Spain, they completely underestimated the opponent right in front of them. The immediate fallout from this sporting disaster showed just how quickly America's global adversaries will seize on domestic political clownery to humiliate the country on the international stage. Almost immediately after the final whistle, a highly sophisticated, mocking Lego animation surfaced online, heavily suspected to have originated from state-aligned creators in Iran. The video was a brutal, rhyming takedown titled Cheated and Defeated, and it went viral by gleefully celebrating the American loss while pointing out the blatant corruption of the situation. The lyrics mocked Trump for making the big phone call and forcing FIFA to bend its rules, only for the Red Devils of Belgium to absolutely fry the American squad anyway. It painted a devastating picture of the current American image abroad, showing waving waffles, a defeated stars and stripes, and a president who talked a massive game but ultimately delivered a total flop. The international community didn't just see a lost soccer match, they saw an empire trying to fix the game and still getting served on its own turf. To make matters even more surreal, the domestic political response to this global humiliation wasn't a sober reflection on sportsmanship, but a descent into further farce. Trump surrogate Nick Sorter issued a public, unironic call for the president to immediately sign an executive order reclaiming the American waffle from Belgium. It is a stunning look at how wacky our daily reality has become, where actual international relations and cultural prestige are treated like a bad reality television show, actively ruining the nation's reputation while the rest of the world laughs out loud. Even young American soccer fans are starting to see through the smoke and mirrors, expressing a profound sense of exhaustion with how everything in modern life has to be warped into a political stunt. In interviews following the match, these kids pointed out the glaring unfairness and the sheer tactical stupidity of the president's intervention. They rightly noted that in any standard sports league, a red card stands, and forcing FIFA's hand just because you have the geopolitical muscle to do so ruins the integrity of the game. By forcing the suspended star back onto the field through political pressure, the administration didn't help the team. They just heaped an unbearable, unnatural amount of stress onto a single player who ultimately cracked under the weight of the entire world rooting against him. The match quickly evolved into an aggressive us versus the world scenario, which completely choked out the team's ability to just play soccer. This tournament was supposed to be the big moment where soccer finally broke into the mainstream American consciousness as a serious sport, but instead, it became another battleground for a hyper-politicized ego trip. This is a recurring pattern where sports are hijacked for personal branding, reminiscent of when Trump insisted on attending the NBA Finals only for the New York Knicks to lose, proving that injecting partisan politics into arenas of raw athletic competition almost always spoils the experience for the fans and jinxes the home team. While the public is kept distracted by soccer drama and Twitter beefs about Belgian waffles, the actual hard geopolitics of the world are getting increasingly dangerous and volatile. Out in the real world, commodity markets are reacting to genuine threats, with oil prices spiking sharply after reports emerged of Iranian forces attacking commercial shipping vessels in the critical choke point of the Strait of Hormuz. The contrast is glaring. While the administration is busy tweeting non-stop and picking fights with historical allies like Italy, real-world crises are boiling over. Trump has recently been spotted in Turkey, essentially trying to smooth things over and beg NATO for assistance with these escalating maritime threats, a move that looks incredibly weak given his track record. It is an impossible strategy to maintain. On one hand, you have conservative media outlets like Fox News clapping along and pretending that attacking global partners is a brilliant sign of strength, while on the other hand, you are actively eroding the very alliances you need to secure global trade routes. You simply cannot maintain vital global partnerships when your entire foreign policy resembles a schoolyard bully who insults his friends online and then expects them to bail him out when a real fight breaks out in the neighborhood. The true underlying motive behind all this chaotic noise becomes obvious when you look at where the money is actually flowing within the federal government. Right amidst the soccer chaos, a massive financial play was made by Trump and his defense pick, Pete Hegseth, who are aggressively pushing Congress for an astronomical $350 billion in new military spending. They are wrapping this massive cash grab in ultra-patriotic branding, yelling in all caps about celebrating centuries of American independence and claiming the War Department has never been hotter. This is the classic trick used to quietly bankrupt the country while keeping the populace base completely riled up. They use highly charged culture wars, fabricated claims of voter fraud, and aggressive rhetoric about social issues to keep regular people angry and distracted. Meanwhile, behind that smokescreen of patriotism, they pull off massive spending bills aimed at defense reconciliation. This real money is destined for lucrative government contracts that will directly benefit billionaire oligarchs and specialized tech firms. The current strategy seems to be rapidly exhausting our existing military munitions, leaving people wondering where all the high-tech missiles went, only to turn around and claim we desperately need to buy massive fleets of autonomous drones and artificial intelligence infrastructure from companies owned by tech elites. This entire political and military grift links up perfectly with a massive, unstable economic bubble currently brewing in the global technology markets. If you look at the corporate landscape, companies like Samsung are posting staggering, historic jumps in profit, up over 1,800%, yet their stock prices are still dropping because investors are terrified. The smart money in the market already priced in those historic quarters months ago, using the actual data release as a confirmation signal to sell off their shares. There is a deep, systemic anxiety that the current levels of extreme spending on artificial intelligence infrastructure simply cannot be sustained at the pace required to keep driving up memory and hardware prices. When you connect all these dots, the broader picture is incredibly bleak. You have an administration ruining America's global standing, alienating crucial military allies, and trying to divert the entire national budget into military-industrial contracts for a few chosen billionaires who want to replace human workers with automation. The domestic economic policy for the average citizen has devolved into telling poor and struggling people that if they cannot afford groceries, they just need to work 3 jobs instead of 2. All while handing massive tax cuts to ultra-wealthy tech moguls. We are being asked to buy into a completely unsustainable reality where the middle class is squeezed dry, the country's global reputation is reduced to a laughingstock, and the leadership is banking on trickle-down economics from space-bound data centers and autonomous robots, making our entire national trajectory look less like a superpower and more like a spectacular collapse.